Officer Wilson said that he had a clear conscience about what happened that day. If he had to do it again, he would. What's your response to that?
He's a murderer. That's what that tells me.
What does that tell you, Leslie?
I hope the Lord have mercy on his soul.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Joining us now is a defense attorney at the Claypool Law Firm, Brian Claypool. Hello, sir.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for taking the time. Welcome to the show. All right, let's talk about, why don't we start with the latest news first, and that is the talk now that they may be looking to prosecute the stepfather of Michael Brown for incitement. Of course, after the grand jury announcement came down, he was seen standing, hugging Michael Brown's mother, and then turning around and defiantly shouting to burn this bitch down, and repeated it several times. And I guess by all legal definitions, that's inciting to riot. What's your take on that?
Well, you can look at it two ways. Legally, it probably is inciting a riot, but politically, is that the correct thing to do right now? Probably not. I think the police department and the prosecutor in St. Louis County ought to focus more on improving race relations and also using the Michael Brown shooting as a platform to make some reform within police practices.
Well, all right. Okay. So your logic is the guy broke the law, might be responsible for innocent citizens being hurt, having their businesses burnt down. Some of them may even be black, but that's okay, or that's against the law. But we don't want to incite anybody or offend anybody, so let that go. I mean, what kind of society would we be living in if that's the case?
Well, I mean, the situation is already so bad there that if you arrest Ferguson, or if you arrest Mike Brown's stepfather, is that going to incite further rioting? So you have to ask yourself that question. I'm not saying what he did is right, but I'm saying anytime you're making a decision on whether you're going to arrest somebody and prosecute them, the reality of the world we live in is you have to look at it from a practical standpoint, which is legal, and then look at it from a political standpoint. Is that politically correct right now? No. Legally, is it correct? Yes, to prosecute him, but all I'm saying is that you need to factor in another fact too. You might want to look at here is, would people have engaged in rioting irrespective of what the stepfather did? I think the answer to that question is yes. I mean, he didn't take lighter fluid and hand it out to people and say, "Here, go burn down this business."
All right, but Brian, let me ask you this. So would you also extend this to the rioters, the looters, whose faces were clearly on cameras after they were carrying out their bounties from the stores they looted and burnt to the ground? Would you go after them, or would you not
Absolutely.
go after them too because
No,
of political correctness?
I would go after them. I would go after the people that are dumb enough and disrespectful enough to go out and damage the business, the businesses of hardworking folks in Ferguson. Yes, I would go after them, but to try to, in my opinion, to beat a dead horse here and to lose focus really on what the real issue is by going after the stepfather, I think that's the wrong course of action. He didn't.
Well,
the stepfather.
you think? Yeah.
He didn't put a gun to these people's heads and say, "Go out and burn up this business." The people who are on camera, who are doing the looting and setting ablaze businesses in Ferguson, need to be prosecuted. Let me make that clear. The only reason I'm suggesting that he probably shouldn't be prosecuted is because of the racial tension and the rioting.
Right. You're afraid it'll lead to more thugs taking to the street and committing more crimes.
Yeah, absolutely. People are always looking for a reason to go out and create chaos. and that's what I think.
Well, all right,
happened.
Brian. Well, to me, that's not the country I grew up in or want to live in or have my son live in. I want law and order and political correctness be damned. But stay where you are. We have another segment. I want to get to the specifics of what you think needs to be done and what was wrong in Ferguson. And if we have time, touch on the Cleveland case as well, where, for those who don't know, there was a 12-year-old boy who was black, who was shot by police, who were responding to a 911 call about a man with a gun. We'll get to that if we have time. Brian Claypool is here, defense attorney at the Claypool Law Firm, and we will continue our conversation. It's very interesting. Glad to have Brian aboard. Hope he'll come back many more times, but stay where you are, Brian, and stay where you are, folks at home. We're coming back with part 2. Don't go away.